As you can see, I'm a proud cat dad. And I also fell in love with baseball. That's right. I kind of got into baseball through, and funnily enough, anime. It's baseball animes that got me into the sport, and I've fallen in love with it. Now, I can see people saying, oh, baseball, it's so boring. I was that as well at first. I was that as well. I was like, baseball is so boring, you have to wait so much. But to be fair, animes and video games do one very clever thing. They mostly skip the waiting. They mostly skip the waiting. You don't really have to wait for the at-bats to happen or for countless interruptions. You just don't have to wait. They give you the action. Now, to be fair, the new pitching clock that was, I think, introduced this year, this season in the MLB, is also a really cool addition to make the game faster. Baseball in itself is a pretty slow game. I do absolutely agree with that. It's a really slow game. You have to wait for a lot of things, actually. But I still think the battle between pitcher and batter is just so much fun to watch. It's insane. It's so cool to watch. Now again, I got into baseball because of animes. And this year I decided to check out the MLB. So I searched up the YouTube channel and I was like, hey, they upload highlights as well. And I got hooked because, again, it's basically the same concept. They skip all the waiting and stuff like that. They show you the highlights. They show you the cool plays, the at-bats that score runs, the at-bats where we have a defensive play that's really cool. They show you the good shit, which is why it's so, I guess, easy to get into it. Because if you watch a real game, it will still be slow. Like, it's not the fastest sport, I get that. But it's still so interesting. And I'm really glad that I got into it. I'm really glad. It's just so fun. I bought baseballs just to try pitching myself, like not in a professional sense with like 200 pitches a day and stretches and stuff like that. No, just trying it out, and it's so hard, but it's so fun. It's just so fun seeing how you kind of develop and how pitches fly, how balls fly if you pitch them in a different way. It's just fun to see. Now again, I live in Germany. I don't really have contact points for baseball. You can kind of play baseball here, but it's in bigger cities, and there is not really much of it. To be fair though, the NFL, so football, also took a pretty long time to become popular in Germany. Now there's still not a lot of contact points for football as well, and it's gotten bigger in Germany, primarily through the Super Bowl. But again, sports like that, you do need special grounds and fields for that. I get why it's hard to establish them in Germany. But still, it's just a lot of fun. It's just a lot of fun. I'm glad I got into baseball. And this year's World Series was insane. Now, I will kind of explain how I watched the last game, because if you hear the story, you're going to think like, is this guy okay? And yes, I am. I am okay. Okay? I'm perfectly fine. But basically, I watched primarily the last game. I watched the highlights for the other games of the World Series final, or the World Series. But it's not like they didn't really interest me, but I didn't want to stay up for them. Like, I would be fine watching the highlights after. But that Game 7, I'm telling you, I was pumped for that. Blue Jays against Dodgers. Blue Jays, more than 30 years waiting for a World Series title. Dodgers, defending champions. Now, sadly, Dodgers won. I would have liked the Blue Jays to win, because that's a long-ass fucking waiting time. But I'm not like that salty that the Dodgers won, because Ohtani is just a very cool and likable guy. He's just a likable guy, okay? He's incredibly amazing at the sport. He's humble. He's just a likable guy, okay? He's just a likable guy. You cannot hate Ohtani. But the Blue Jays kind of waited long for a title, and sadly they didn't get it. But it was just an incredible game. It was just an incredible game. Now, again, I live in Germany. I do not have a streaming service that or television where I can watch the game. It's just not I just don't have that. So I went onto YouTube and I searched the game. And you have like 10 streams that are not really legal, I think. And I watched it. And they have this big box in the middle where it says, fuck you, go to the link that is a malware to watch this for free without the box. And I was like, no, I'm not risking that. I'm not risking that. I'm pretty sure it's a virus. I didn't test it, but I'm pretty sure. But then the first stream got taken down. And I'm like, by the MLB itself, by the way. The MLB actively snipes these channels. So I'm Googling another. So I'm going back to the search bar or the tab with the search open, and I go to the next stream. Like, I watched maybe half an inning, boom, taken down. And that goes on and on and on. After like the 5th or 6th inning where there are no new streams appearing, and I'm like, I don't have a way of watching the game. So I actually went to a guy commentating on what's happening. That's right. I didn't see the actual game. I just listened to someone talk about the game, and my heart was still racing like crazy. It was insane. Now I can't even imagine people actually watching the game. My heart was pumping like crazy. It was just amazing. It was an amazing game. Both teams played extremely well. Both teams would have deserved the World Series title. But the game was just crazy. And I managed, because I didn't stay up for all of it, I did stay up until the 10th inning. Then I was like, you know what, it's like 5 a.m., I'm going to bed. But I did actually manage to not spoil myself and watch the highlights in peace, like without being spoiled. And then I found out that the Blue Jays lost. It is sad. It is sad. I would have liked for them to win. It didn't happen. Now, I still don't have a favorite team. I'm just enjoying watching the sport. I'm just enjoying watching the sport and the highlights. It's just an incredibly fun sport, but I can't understand people saying it's boring or it takes too long. You have too much waiting. I understand that. But still, it was incredibly fun. And it's also incredibly fun to play. Now again, video games are of course extremely different from the actual sport, but it's still so much fun to play. It's just the battle between pitcher and batter is just so cool. It's just such a cool concept and such a unique concept. Now I get why, other sports don't do that because it has like a lot of downtime, a lot of waiting. But that is also kind of the charm of it. So you can prepare for all these pitching battles. And that's just cool. Now I also want to talk about the fact that I think MLB is missing a huge opportunity by not being on Twitch. I think they're missing a huge opportunity. I at least didn't find their stream. Wait, let me just look it up. Don't let me not spew any bullshit here, okay? They're just people, streaming the game, MLB The Show 2025, which is cool, but I want to watch, the World Series. I want to watch the games. And I feel like they miss such a huge opportunity by not being on Twitch. Now, I get baseball games have a lot of downtime and they play ads during these downtimes most of the time. Like, they are filled with ads. Like, basically every inning switch or every switch from top to bottom or bottom to top of the inning, the 3 minutes ads. I still think they could negotiate a contract with Twitch that just complies to this need. They could still do ads there. I think that's fine. Even if the ads run, I think the ads run for 2 minutes or 2:30. I still think Twitch could actually negotiate something with them, or the MLB could negotiate something with Twitch. I think that's just a huge missed opportunity. As well as donations, subs, and stuff like that, which would bring even more money in. That's also something that the MLB should be interested in. As every fucking company is, or every fucking thing in the world is interested in money nowadays. So I feel like they're just missing a huge opportunity. And I would be glad to see that next season when they just introduce, we're moving to Twitch. Well, not moving, but we are also broadcasting this on Twitch for the international audience that doesn't have access to American TV channels or streaming services. Because I'm not paying for a subscription. I'm not. I live in Germany. I would need a VPN as well, which would be double the cost. So yeah, but again, I want to talk more about baseball animes in a separated video, because when I'm done watching all of them, I will be talking about them and ranking them. But just for your information, the two animes that got me into baseball were Diamond No Ace and One Outs. I think those two, watch them. They are so amazing. Now, Diamond No Ace is pretty long. It has over 170 episodes. It is long, but it's such a good anime. It's one of my favorite animes of all time. And it got me into baseball, and I'm so glad for it. And One Outs is also really cool with the take on more like the psychological side of the pitching battles, so pitcher versus batter, and how words can influence them, or actions and stuff like that. That's just very cool. It's basically the Death Note of baseball, which is just such a cool concept. I really enjoyed those two, and I can wholeheartedly recommend them. Now, for games, for example, I've played Wii Sports Baseball. It's a very simplified version, but it's been so fun. It's just been so fun playing Wii Sports Baseball on streams, for example. It's just been so fun. Because the concept of baseball itself, like the pitching or the battle between pitcher and batter, and then when the batter hits, the whole team helping the pitcher out, is just so cool. It's just such a cool concept. I get that people don't like the wait time, but the core of baseball itself is so amazing. Just so amazing and interesting, and how the ball can fly in different directions with the different gripping techniques and pitches is just so cool. It's just so cool. So yeah, I fell in love with baseball. What can I say? Now, anyways, that's really all I wanted to talk about for today. I hope you enjoyed this yapping session. My cat is cleaning himself. He's so cute. Anyway, that's it for today. See ya.